Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. So this is a last class of the database system course for you in this semester. And today we will talk about the final exams. So according to the schedule, we will have the final exam in the final exam week. And we plan to have the exam on Monday actually. It's April 19th. So please allocate some time on this day to work on your final exams. As to the final exam formats, before the pandemic, normally we have this final exams in classrooms. However, in this year, due to the pandemic, and also some of the students, they are also living in some other countries, outside the US, and they are also living in different time zones. So, to make it easier for everyone to do the exams, and we plan to do the exam as a take-home exam instead in this semester. So my plan for the exam will be like this. I plan to release a question for the final exams by the Sunday of this week. In other words, we'll release the question by the midnight of April 18th, and we will give you about 24 hours to finish the exam questions. And please make sure you can submit the answers to Canvas system as a PDF document by the midnight of April 19th. In other words, you have 24 hours to finish this exam. So I think it should be enough for everyone to do these exam questions. No matter which country you are living in right now. And you can also make sure, you can finish all the questions on time. Alright, so this is the general idea for the exams. We will talk about more information about this exam formats later on in the slides. So in today's class, we plan to provide with an overview for the final exams for you. We will discuss what are the formats of the exams and what are the questions will be covered in the exam, as well as how to prepare for the exams. So this exam will be very important because it takes more than 30% of your final grade. So please make sure you prepare for the exam very carefully. And also a reminder, by this Friday, we will have the final project as a stage 5 report will be due by the midnight. So according to the previous emails, please use a template, either the ACM or the IEEE template to write your report. And your report format will be similar or the same as the paper you are reading for the project actually. So make sure you format this paper according to the templates carefully, and also show the result you can get according to your models by running the model on some data sets. The report will be due by the midnight of this Friday, so please make sure you don't miss this deadline. The deadline will be firm and fixed for everyone because according to the university policies, we will have a deadline to post this final grade for everyone in this semester. So we cannot grant any extension anymore for the projects, for the final project reports. So please make sure you submit the reports by the Friday midnight, this week, so we can grade your project on time. As to the grading plans, we will do the grading, finish all the gradings by the Friday of the final exam week. And we'll give you 2 days to check the grading, scores. If you have any question for gradings, please let me and the TA know so we can check if we can have anything wrong in the grading or not for you. If nothing is wrong, then we will release the final grade by the Sunday of this final exam week. So you can have the grade already available in your system. You can see the grade in your system by the Sunday of the final exam week. So this is a plan for the grading work in the coming weeks. And so please make sure you finish everything according to our plan and according to our schedule. All the data submission for both the project report as well as the final exam, these answers will be ignored and will not grade them for you. So please make sure you can follow these deadlines. And all the deadline will be in the 8th time zone, and we will not grade any data submissions. Alright, so in this semester, due to the pandemic, we do the teaching via the YouTube. It's very challenging for me. We have to record lots of videos. Actually, it's also very difficult for me because I have to practice a lot. Normally for the same lecture, I have to record several times. Okay, so we can pick and also edit the videos which can be used for your lecture and post on the YouTube. So I do spend lots of time on recording, editing, as well as posting these videos for you. I also check this page for the channel for the course. I think right now we have posted more than about 150 videos in this semester alone, and I also hope you really enjoy this course and can learn something useful from the lectures. Okay, so this is plans, and let's come to the lectures. We have an overview prepared for you for the final exam. So the time for the final exam will be on the Monday, the April 19th. we plan to release the question by the midnight of the day before that. We will release a question on Sunday midnight, and then you will have 24 hours to finish every question and also submit the answers to the Canvas system by midnight of Monday. So the final exam will be very important. All the later submission will not be accepted, so please make sure you try to submit the answers as soon as possible. Don't wait until midnight, right? So the exam will be a take-home exam. In other words, the venue for the examination will be at your home. And we will still do the exam as a closed book exam, closed notes, but you can bring one page cheat sheet in A4 size, double side. So when you are doing the submission, please make sure you attach the cheat sheet at the end of your submission. So for the exam, no calculators will be allowed and no other electronic devices will be allowed. So you cannot use your laptop, your computer, your iPad, your smartphone, and other electronic devices. And any form of cheating in the exam will be resulting in 0 grade and also be reported to the university as well. If you observe someone has ever committed any cheating or any other misconduct for the exams, please report to me and I can grant you with some bonus points if the reported cases is confirmed. So according to the schedules, in the syllabus, the final exam will take about 35% of your final score, and the coverage will cover all the materials we talk in the class and in the textbooks, starting from the introduction until the very end. And we also cover the 6 required reading papers we have, shared with you in this semester, right? And also please go over these papers as well when you are preparing for the final exam. As to formats, we have 0 different formats of the questions in the final exam. So first of all, we have one set of true or false questions with brief answers. We will have some questions to give you. You can need to provide the answer if this statement is true or false, and also provide with some justifications or some reasons. We'll provide with some examples. Like this inverted index is a balanced tree structure that can support efficient search for geometric objects. And you need to provide the answer either false or true or because of some reasons, right? Besides the true-false questions, we also have a set question for the short answer question as well. For example, what is the latest loop join? What is the complexity of this join algorithm? And we also have some more questions. For example, the dynamic programming for the optimal join, order selection, and extension, like this. And to the point for the final exam will be 100 points. I think you have enough time to finish all the questions on time. Normally, before the pandemic, we do the exam in 2 hours. However, in this year, I can give you 24 hours to finish the exam. I think it should be far more enough for you to finish all the questions. And we have some suggestions for you to prepare for the exam. Please go over all the lecture slides as well as the videos and also start the textbook. Please read the required reading papers and the proper definition, the key technical innovations, and also work independently on the problems in the homeworks, in the lectures, the exercise, in textbook. And any practice, work it out before checking the solutions. If you have any question, you can discuss with people in the class, before the exam. And you can discuss with me and with the TA as well. However, during the exam, we do not allow any discussions with the teammates, with your classmates, or with the TAs. I always remind the TA not to answer any question from you during the exams. And please don't send me or the TA questions during the exam, and we will not answer you actually. So according to the schedule for the final exam, we have different grades according to the points. Right? You can either have A+, A, B+, B, C+, C, D+, D, and F. If you cheat, of course, it will be a big problem for you. Normally, if you can do very well in this course, you will show your potential to do the research, in database systems. It will be a very good option for you to try for the future, right? You can either do a PhD degree or you can join the industry to do some career, about database systems. Okay, so this is about the exam format. Let's go over the materials we plan to cover for the course. If you still remember in the very beginning for the database system, we show you a diagram for the database system architecture. So the database system main target is to store and manage the data we have in the real world. So therefore, we have a storage space prepared for database systems. Inside we store data, the metadata, index, log, and etc. And for database system, we have different components. When we have the query inputs, normally we have a query parser, and we also have a query writer, right? And we have a query optimizer. We have covered this in this course, and we have a query executor. We already mentioned this, right? We have a recorder, we have indexes, We also talk about the advanced indexing in this course as well. The buffer manager, the storage manager, which is covered in this course as well, right? So besides queries, we can also have some transactions. Normally, transaction denotes a sequence of queries which have some functions, right? And when we have some transaction inputs, we have a transaction manager, and also we have some other like a DDL processors if we have some DDL commands come in. For database system, we have the concurrency controller. This is also a component in the system which is very important. And we also have a login and a recovery, which is not covered in this course actually. But I think you have done this before in your undergraduate databases course before. Besides, we also have the memory in the system. We have buffers, we have log tables, and etc. So for database system, the market size is growing every year. I mean, it will be a very promising direction for you to exploit for the future, especially in the age of AI and 5G, right? And we will have more and more data created by the real-world systems. So how to store and manage this data in database system is very important, which will be a very promising direction for the future. And we'll show you some examples of databases which are used in the real world. The number one will be the Oracle, which is a very famous database system used by the companies, by the governments, and by other institutes. We also have some other formats of database system as well. You can see in this table we show you most of the database system used in the real world, they actually relational database system. Besides this, we also have some other new formats like the document stores like MongoDB, which is a new format of database system, also used by many companies as well. I hope you still remember in the course we have mentioned many famous people, their face, their contribution to this area, why they will be remembered forever for the people who are working on this direction. I hope you can remember their name, their face, and their work, their contributions after finishing this course. Of course, the next one probably will be you, right? If you are interested in this area, you can first explore how to build a better database system in the future. Okay, so we can have a brief go over these materials we have covered in semester. If you still remember, we have a very important topic, which is for data storage and representations. We discussed how to store the data into systems, right? So the memory we have in the system will have different formats, right? We have different hierarchies. And normally when we decide which kinds of equipment to be used for storing data, we need to balance among the speed versus the size versus the cost, right? So we can decide which device to be used for storing the data. And when we're talking about the disk, and we discuss the latency, the time, right? Which can cover the seeking time, the rotating time, and transfer time of the data. We'll discuss the I/O cost. We have this random I/O cost versus sequential I/O cost. And for data, we have different formats of data stored in database system. We discuss how to represent the data in the database system for you, right? And we'll talk about the database address, they will record modifications, the row store versus column store. And you can go over the lectures again. We are preparing for the exam in this section. After that, we'll go through this advanced indexing section, right? We discuss what is index and what's the different types of indexes we can use for database systems. We mentioned B and B plus trees, right? And we'll spend lots of time to talk about this inverted index and the Boolean queries for the query optimization as well. And we'll mention this multiple dimensional indexes and queries, the KD tree, quadrat tree, and R tree. And we'll mention the bitmap index as well, which will be much more efficient and effective as well. And after that, we'll talk about this query processing. And we mentioned this logic versus the physical operators. And we have this iterative model. And we'll mention this materialization versus power 9. We'll talk about one process algorithm we can use, right, to implement many of the operators, like this nested loop joins. And for the case if the memory cannot hold the whole data into it, then we can probably use some other algorithm like a two-parse algorithm. We have this sort-based algorithm as well as hash-based algorithm for the two-parse algorithm, right? And we also have this multi-parse algorithm. At the very end of this section, we will discuss this index-based algorithm as well for the processing queries. You can go over these materials again when you are preparing for the final exams. And after that, we'll talk about these query optimizations. If you still remember, we have introduced different kinds of doors we can use, right, for optimizing the queries. And we already mentioned these rule-based optimizations based on heuristic rules for selections. And we spend lots of time to talk about cost-based optimizations. We talk about how to decide the orders of the operators, right? And we can use this dynamic programming algorithm to help us to do the selection of the orders for the operations. And we'll discuss the size estimation algorithms which can be used for help deciding the optimization core of the queries. And at the very end, we have one section on data mining. We mentioned data mining and knowledge discovery from data, which is very important. We discussed two important problems. The first one is called frequent pattern mining, which is normally started by the people from the database system when we are doing the data mining these problems. We discussed about the association rules and the confidence scores and support scores for the rules. We have these closed patterns and maximal patterns, as well as a priori algorithms, which can be used for mining these frequent patterns from the data we have. We will discuss how to find similar patterns from the data sets. When we mentioned some techniques which can be used, right? And we mentioned the singling, as well as Jack similarity and mean hashing. And we also discussed the no-connectivity sensitive hashing, which can be used to do the selection or the pre-selection of the data pairs before we do the calculation of similar scores among them, right? Which can lower down the time cost a lot. So this is a section we have covered in this course in the semester. I hope you still remember these phrases or words we mentioned in these slides. They'll all be covered in the final exam for you actually. Okay, so this is the overview for you. I hope you can learn something useful from the lectures in this semester for the course, which can be helpful for either your future research or your future career. So please make sure spend some time on preparing for the final exams, going over the lecture, the slides, and the textbooks. Redo your homeworks again, make sure you can do every question correctly. Also check the paper you have read in this semester. Some of the content will also appear in the final exam as well. Okay, so that's it for the final exam overview for you. And after you finish the exam, you can hope you will have a nice summer. Alright, so that's it for today's class. I really appreciate for your attention and your time in this semester, and also hope you can do well in the final exam and also get a very good grade for this course and you can enjoy your summer.